Hey, HEMA Strong, Chuck here with another first impression sword unboxing video. I've already unboxed the swords, and there's a special story that I'll tell you all about. But a few months ago, I saw a new offering on Purple Heart from Szymon Chlebowski. I've used his swords before in the past. I really like their aesthetics. I love the hand forged nature of the crossguard, which seemed like it was uh, indestructible. So, and I really like the aesthetics of a really wide blade. So I immediately jumped on it. All right. So the funny story is I opened it, I started recording an initial impression video. And by the time I finished the video, I realized that I had received the wrong sword. It was the David model, uh, not the Goliath model. So my wife was like, "Hey, I like the David model. Why don't we keep it?" Natasha was able to get me in the system to then still receive the Goliath. I paid for it. So now I finally just received the Goliath and I can talk to you about both swords. I'm probably not going to keep the David just because it's a little bit longer than what I normally like to fence with. Uh, but it's not that huge of a difference. Okay, so starting with the David, it's meant to be a wide blade, but not as wide as the Goliath. And it is 53 inches, 40-inch blade, 3 pounds on the dot. And the point of balance is 3.5 inches from the crossguard. And it has a twisted S-shaped crossguard. As you can kind of see the wideness of the blade. It has a decently sized handle with fishtail pommel. And Szmon usually prefers, I think, having this rolled tip. So it does have the rolled tip. Like I said, it handles nicely. It feels lighter than it might actually look, but being the longer blade and where the point of balance is, it does feel a little bit tip heavy, depending on if you like that or not. So here you go again, thick blade for safety with the giant fuller down the middle, and this wide blade. Now, having just received the Goliath, Goliath is a shorter sword, same weight though. Very similar handle in this case, but the blade is much, 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 much wider and that upswept crossguard. So you can kind of see the blade here. I'll do a compare and contrast of holding them. Also, the rolled tip and side by side, kind of see. So the handle on the David is actually longer as well. So overall length of the Goliath, which is in my left hand here with the upswept crossguard, 51 inches, 39-inch blade, weighs 3 pounds, 3.5 inches from the crossguard for the point of balance. And like I said, it has that much wider blade. If you hold them like this, you can kind of see. Um, I guess that'd be the taper of this is more gradual, and the tape, they seem to be the same size at the actual crossguard, but this has a more severe taper into being a narrower blade. So both the same weight, different handle sizes, different blade sizes. Uh, because of the point of balance being the same on the shorter sword, the David, uh, it still feels like it wants to cut too. That's not a problem. I like having swords that do that. I'm super excited to have a very wide blade just for my own solo practice with cutting to kind of hear the sword wind. No, the aesthetics of it are beautiful. So if you're familiar with Szymon's work, this is an alternative to his default fetter offering. If you want something that's a little bit more looking like a blunt sword, and essentially you could kind of view them as similar model, except one is 51 inches, one is 53 inches, 39-inch blade, 40-inch blade. I don't know. This was like an experiment, right? So actually, when I ordered it, I emailed Szmon and he got back to me right away with some of the details. And he was just like, well, where do you want the point of balance? Well, what length do you want? So it seems like he's kind of experimenting with these options, which is cool. So it's very possible that if you're not a fan of the twisted crossguard, and the S-shaped crossguard, that you could probably very likely ask for the upswept crossguard and vice versa. Um, or you could potentially get the 39-inch blade with the shorter handle, or the 40-inch blade with the shorter handle, whatever you want to do. But through Purple Heart, they have them both in stock, but I believe they're just the default configurations, and I think you'd have to go work with Natasha or Szmon directly. I'm not sure what the arrangement is there if you would like some of those customizations. So like I said, I'm probably very likely going to sell the David, just that I know it's sounds like blasphemy, but I may be reaching the point of too many swords, not enough armor. Have to put that not enough armor there on the end to make it clear. But I just love how this blade looks, and I love how it handles, and it's going to be my practice sword for quite a bit until I put it through its paces. And then once I fence with it, I'll let you know. Just initial impression, the flexibility. You know, I mostly use my everyday swords are Siggies, as well as a Krieger Fiore. The flex on here is pretty similar to what I've can recall of most Chlebowskis. I have no concerns over the flex with this blade. It's not as stiff as say an Ensifer or I know VB's flexibility can be a little less consistent, but it seems pretty close to maybe say a Siggy Maestro as far as flexibility goes. I haven't had the ability to test it just yet, so hopefully once I'm able to fence with it, I can provide some additional feedback. I will say the David got fenced with once or twice, and the type of steel that it is does kind of require some maintenance uh, rust maintenance compared to some other swords that are less likely to pick up rust. So, but that's pretty normal for a Chlebowski for me. Many people prefer that because then it gets a nice patina and kind of looks like it's antiqued. So, all right, let me know if you have any questions about the swords while I have both of them in my hands. But that's your first look at these two new offerings, and hopefully that helps you pick if you were interested in them. Thank you.